Welcome back. We're talking all about relationships. Before the break, we were talking with Dr. Paul Clark, the director of Mississauga Counseling, about breaking up, which is not always the easiest thing.
No.
But what can be also more difficult is maybe getting back together with that estranged ex. So, Dr. Clark, thank you so much for sticking around. Now, you touched on the difficulty of when you break up, resisting possibly, staying on that person and trying to reconcile things. But what if you do? What if you want to get back together with somebody?
Well, again, I would say you want to, again, don't panic, take some time. You don't resist the temptation to call them right back and say, we got to get back together again. Let them feel what they're telling you by breaking up with you is that right now I need some space. And so give them that space. And then after a certain amount of time, the other thing that you want to do is, make sure that you are grounded, that you are happy in your life. And so, take the time to, get in shape. Take the time to, get on that nutrition program, improve yourself. So no matter what happens, whether or not you get back with this person, you're feeling better about yourself. And then over a certain period of time, you decide, you touch base with them, but it's not like, hey, let's get back together again. And you would ask them, hey, do you want to do something? And I would suggest not a movie or a dinner, but hey, let's have coffee.
So when you're talking about period of time, how do you gauge that time? Is it different for everybody depending on how long you've been with that person, how serious the relationship was?
Yeah, I would say it is. You have to sort of play it by ear. But I would say weeks, at least, that you want to let them know that you are not bouncing right back at them and that the space that they wanted is there. Maybe even longer. It can be months. And, they may start seeing somebody else. It's very common to have a rebound relationship and not, to be panicked by that, because those rebound relationships start very quickly. We've been in an intimate relationship. We feel totally alone. We jump back into another relationship. They tend to be very short.
Are they healthy, though? Is that is it a natural thing to have those?
It's a natural phenomena. I would say healthy or not. For the person who is just recently broken up with somebody and she's looking for somebody else, well, it may fill a gap, but woe be the person who doesn't realize that you're the rebound person. It can be very unhealthy for them, who thinks this is a great relationship, and after 3 weeks they go, you know what, I'm not ready for this. I just broke up with a serious relationship. So those are questions to ask, too, before you get involved with somebody. If you just broke up with somebody, how recently was this?
Right. So is it generally maybe a bad idea to try and reconcile this broken relationship?
It depends how bad things were. That's another thing you want to do is take inventory. During this time, take some serious inventory. Is this somebody that you could really see being with the rest of your life? Are the problems that you had fixable? Or is the reason that they broke up with you because you have this problem of being unfaithful, and that doesn't seem like something you can break? Or is it something that they hated about, your family? Some things can be changed and some things can't be changed. So it's a good time to really take inventory and see, has anything changed in the relationship, or is this a place that I can go forward in, right, without compromising myself? You don't want to get back in a relationship and say, well, I could make this work and I'll just tell you that you're right all the time.
Right. So what if you've made that personal assessment, you've waited several months and you just can't live without this other person, but then you find out the other person is not thinking the same way you are and they're done with things. How do you sort of go about that?
Well, then it's time to, you might give one more big push, invite them out to like a really fancy dinner or something like that. If that doesn't work and it's rejection, time to move on.
Yeah.
You got to know if it's not going anywhere and they clearly have, they've got a Facebook status, engaged, and, this is a time to accept reality and go, okay, this is not going to work out.
Got to grin and bear it, I guess, eh?
Yeah.
Well, there's different ways to go about maybe rectifying things that have gone awry, like families and stuff like that. But I want to kind of talk about makeup sex, if that's appropriate.
Oh.
Yes. A lot of people do choose that route.
Yeah.
Does it work every time? Is it a good solution? Is it even a solution?
Well, the short answer is not really. I would say particularly for women. About 80% of women would say that if they've done this, it's not a good idea, and that's partly because the act of love is so much a more personal experience for the woman, that particularly, well, it depends. Are you the dumpee or the dumper? You know, the roles change, but sometimes men are able to disassociate a little bit, and so we can still be friends and we can have sex, but you know, that doesn't mean we're going out. You know, and is this makeup sex? Is this going to lead us back into the relationship? But fundamentally, it's not what you want to base a relationship on. You know, that very few people would talk about their future wife and go, you know, I stayed with her because she was great in bed. You know,
Right.
it's the other things that are really important. I mean, it can be a very positive experience at the time. The question is, are you going to have consequences afterwards? Are you going to, oh, we're just friends and we'll just sleep together? Is that something you can do comfortably, or is that going to make you feel guilty and used and not comfortable in the end?
Right.
So you have to make that decision. It is very common, but as I say, women tend to be, about 80% of women would say never.
It's
right?
a bit superficial.
But the same percentage of men would say, yeah, sure, no, this is a great idea.
Exactly.
Right.
So it all depends on where you are and whether you have been, like, are you the one that was dumped? Because you're going to feel a whole lot more fragile in that situation. You know, what does this mean in terms of if I dump this person and, hey, I still get to sleep with them, well, this is a really good deal. You know?
Could be a win-win for some people,
Yeah.
but like you said.
Let's touch on one thing before we wrap everything up here as well. You talked about social media and the importance of, you know, the people on there and their relationship statuses. What about your family and friends and their reactions and how much their influences have on whether or not you should be with or without somebody?
Well, that's always something to take into consideration. So you have basically two versions, which is your family loves the person you're with, and when you break up with them, they are devastated. They arguably like them better than they liked you, and so you're going to get a lot of heat. And you know, maybe you should try and get back with this person. They seemed really nice, and you know, being nice is not necessarily the answer.
Right.
The other side is that breakups can occur because families disapprove of the person that you're
Yeah,
with,
absolutely.
and say, like, I'm sorry, you are not married. This person is nothing like us. They have a different religion. They speak a different language. We don't want this person around. So they can be involved. But once again, boundaries.
Can work either
Yeah.
way.
Well, Dr. Clark, thank you so much for coming once again. Very informative
Absolutely.
stuff. We'll be right back after this on Daytime. Stick around.
Okay.